taken upon arrival. Can I have a motion to approve the sanitary board minutes from April 9th?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have the sanitary board MS4 petitions, communications, and public hearing. Is there anybody here would like to speak? Hi, would you like to speak? Oh. No? Okay, then we'll move on. We're going to move around the agenda a little bit, so we're going to start with actually the last 4 agenda items. So first up would be consideration of approval of sanitary board revenue fund budget revision for fiscal year 2023 to 2024.
I'll go ahead and move for approval of the revision. I don't have any, my questions will be on the budget, not the
Okay.
revision.
I'll
So
second.
I so move.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Appreciate it.
Next, we have consideration of approval of the sanitary board R&R fund budget revision for 2023 to 2024. Can I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve the budget revision for the R&R fund.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. Next, consideration of approval of the sanitary board revenue fund budget for 2024 to 2025. Can I have a motion and a second?
I get a motion to get it on the floor. I move that we approve the budget for the fiscal year 24-25.
I'll second.
Is there further discussion?
Yes, Mark, you want me to go first, or you want me?
Go ahead.
Okay. I guess I have looked at the budget over the weekend and made some notes and some comments I wanted to make, and then of course I got your printout. So a couple of these questions I had already answered, so I'm just sort of going to move around.
Sure.
First of all, as a comment, I want to go ahead and first of all commend Kim and Drew and Johnny Workman and staff, because I know what it's like to put a budget together, and looks like that these numbers look pretty sound to me or whatever, and looks like that, you know, it's a pretty solid budget for the next fiscal year. My first question was, and I guess you answered that, was that it did include a 5% increase for the rate increase for the next fiscal year. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the other thing I was going to ask about is the interest rates on, I know the interest rates are up, and I know that you should have been getting more interest, and I guess you've adjusted that in the budget, which is good. And then, of course, I was going to ask about the pay increase, and I thought it was 3%, but this 4% is built into this budget?
Yes.
Okay. And then the next one was the PEIA 14% increase, and it's built in on your, I see it there too.
Yes.
So let me look at the rest of your narrative here, and then I'll go back to my notes. Okay.
Sorry.
So your, the personal services, is that just one of the finance, your wages and finance, is that just, because that's your year?
It's 2 now. It's 25% of mine and 25% of Cherie.
Okay, so only 25% each is that?
Right.
Okay. Now, the full-time engineer, that is only a part of the engineer's salary?
50%.
It's 50/50?
Mhm.
Okay. I guess the new camera in the sewer department, that's something that we'd already talked about, the 15,000. Do you know anything about the pump wheel kit? I know Johnny's not here. Do you know anything
Yeah,
what that
he
is?
didn't, he would be the best to answer that. He's ill today. He
Okay.
had to leave. He had to go home.
And then Drew, on the chemicals, what's the chemical prices going to look? I guess we bid those in August, correct?
We bid those in August. I foresee them probably being hopefully around the same price that we're paying this year.
So you look like, but you look like you went from 155 down to 130.
Yeah, it went down, because last year we paid 114 for chlorine, this year we're only paying 79. So it slowly came down, but I don't foresee
Do
it
you,
going down.
do you think 130 is sufficient?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing that, and I mentioned this at our work session, is as much money as we can sock into that R&R fund. I know we have budgeted an amount, but anything we can get in that R&R, we need to.
Right, the
Wanna
last few
build that
months we've
back
been
up.
putting in 7.5%.
Pardon?
The last few months we've been putting in the 7.5%.
Okay, instead of the 2.5?
Right.
Okay. That's my only questions on the budget from Art.
No other questions?
Okay, I move that we already made a motion, didn't we? Okay, I move, question. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Next, we have consideration of approval of the sanitary board R&R fund budget for 24-25. Can I have a motion
I make a motion that we approve the R&R fund budget.
and a
I'll
second? Thank you. Further discussion?
I guess one question, and I was happy to see that we have increased the amount for sewer line cleaning. That $300,000 for sewer line cleaning, that's above and beyond what we've got set aside in the loans? I mean.
Yeah, this is above that. I think in the budget, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, he set aside so much for debt service. And then they felt the budget over the last year with the increases. They were trying to get money in there so they could do the yearly maintenance and stuff like that was giving them trouble. We did the project years ago, we cleaned a bunch, remember the DEP kind of gave us a hard time about is that maintenance or,
So this 300,000, just something that you all going to determine during the year, where you want to use it at? I mean, is it the 300,000?
yeah, I mean, I know there's some places in the interceptor that keeps giving them some problems and stuff.
So this is the sewer department will decide where we do these work.
The only comment I have is to concur with what Mr. Ferrari said. The more money we can put in the R&R fund, that would be great for the city, just for the infrastructure needs that we have.
Yes.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Now we'll go back up to the discussions and updates. The Arlington Sewer Extension, please.
Anthony and I are going to give the updates together. Arlington Sewer Extension, we're trying to get our design ready to go in August for 60% review for the Army Corps. Quite frankly, we have focused downtown with the schedule on phase 5A. That's where all our resources are gone. So with that, on phase 5A, facility plan, I reached out to see if they had any comments on it. Finally got back that they're good with it. They just have to go through the formal process of approving it. We will probably get a categorical exclusion, I would think, instead of, because of all our work is in the disturbed area downtown. We do have a preliminary set of plans being completed this week. I think we have a page turner scheduled for both the sewer board and the water board. We're combining those projects. So we have one contractor working on two streets downtown, Pike Street and Main Street. Made the most sense putting those together. We got that approved by the funding agencies to do that. The way we'll keep track of that is we'll have a general mobilization, and then we'll break out all the sanitary stuff into one piece of the bid tab, and then all the water will be on the other, and split stuff up as we have to. So, as we said, we have a page turner there. Our goal is to send preliminary contracts. We'll probably get them as soon as we are comfortable with them, even as late as this week. We'll go ahead and get them to the funding agency so we can get in line. I know we will probably have comments after we do the page turner with both facilities. Typically, DEP will have a few comments. We'll try to address them all at the same time. So Anthony and I are kind of kicking that around right now is the best way to do that. But because of the tight time frame we're trying to meet, anything we can do to kind of move it up. We'll probably actually have a conversation with Dan Bailey and the DEP of how he doesn't want to wait until Jason and everyone goes through it, and so we'll work that out. But we got the set pretty well, ready to go. They finished up some final I&I investigation, I think, yesterday with our crews. We still have the stuff we subbed out to Snyder. How far along are they?
I'd say they're a little over halfway complete, expecting to finish up by the end of the month. They've been coordinating with Johnny for traffic control, it's got some help in there.
So which piece was that?
That is from 6th Street, to So where the sewer ends on Pike and on Main, I think Main it goes to the second bridge, and on Pike it goes to the bridge that goes across CSX.
So far, our preliminary review looks like it'll be mostly lining for the sewer part, you know, the slip lining, so we don't have to dig, but they're now getting to the hard part, and we'll see what kind of, what we can add buoys and stuff like that. So we went into it. It is taking a lot longer than we thought. We'll probably have to bring an amendment here, next time, but I want to see how far they get with their money that they're doing. It's hard work and it's taking time. I talked to Mr. Stranko a little bit. Almost all the work is in DOH, but we will have a few easements that we will need. So my suggestion is to get an appraiser on board right away, because we have to go like across the Wendy's, what's the other?
Wendy's, Auto Parts.
Auto parts and stuff, and we have found that working with businesses like that, if you have an appraiser or something, it moves the process quicker. Because DEP won't let us bid unless we have all the right of ways. So we're gonna get the exhibits, already talked to Tim, he's gonna get the deeds and stuff ready to go. In the meantime, I'm gonna reach out to a couple of appraisers, Doug Wise, Dave Spurlock, and see who can move it the quickest to get an appraised value of the property we have to pay for.
Excuse me, and of course, our first pass is going to be given to us for free.
Yes.
And while Dan's working that, so we can try to get public spirited businesses to donate those easements.
Yeah. We'll ask for a dollar.
For a dollar.
For a dollar. We always go for a dollar and stuff. And we'll see. But there's one like in the auto parts place where we have a huge storm drain running right into the sanitary sewer. We have to get it out. So that's kind of where we are on that. Anything I'm forgetting?
For phase five.
For phase 5A. And then we'll be moving on to phase 5B with our investigation in that project next.
Thank you. Next, we have the consideration to approve the Thrasher invoice. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the invoice from the Thrasher Group for Clarksburg Phase VA long-term control plan in the amount of $132,893.75.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have consideration to approve the pro contracting final invoice. Do I have a motion?
I move that, with the approval of our engineer, that we approve the invoice application for payment to Pro Contracting in the amount of $76,466.30. Is that correct? Is that the correct amount?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I just want to note that is their final payment. They came back and addressed all their punch list items. There's still a couple spots over on Sampson Street, the church parking lot over there, that we're going to continue to monitor. And if they get any worse, then they're going to come back and do some more work.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have the consideration for purchase of a John Deere 1023E subcompact utility tractor and 54-inch mower deck from Bridgeport Equipment and Tool under the state contract in the amount of $15,518.80. Can I have a motion, please?
So move.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have consideration for purchase of the John Deere X580 Select Series tractor with 54-inch mower deck from Bridgeport Equipment and Tool under the state contract in the amount of $7,777.18. Can I have a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just glad that it's under state contract. We know we'll get the best price. That's good.
Agreed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have consideration for purchase of a 4x4 one-ton utility bed truck from Jenkins Ford in the amount of $67,010.
I so move.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Just a question. This, Kim, this utility truck, is this coming out of this year's budget? The 67,000?
I am not
Yes,
It is coming out of this year's budget?
that's John's.
sure.
Okay.
Yes,
Only question. I'm good.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have consideration of approval of resolution to approve the job titles and base pay schedules for the sanitary board employees for 24-25.
This includes the 4% increase. I so move approval of this resolution by title.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have the reports. Mr. Linville, anything to report?
I don't have any.
Mr. Farr?
Just again, want to thank the staff for the preparation of the budget.
I agree.
Good job.
Kim? Drew?
Second file report. We didn't have any violations for the month of April. We got the final clarifier back in service, repaired back in service. And we're getting ready to start tank inspections for the yearly tank inspections. And that's all.
Thank you. Tim?
Thank you. We need 5 minutes to talk about the Wolf Summit Power Project. Dan Dan's going to join me as well. We've developed this matter to the point where we need your guidance on how you'd like to go forward. The framing the issue is that the Wolf Summit facility will be located in the Summit Park PSD service area. But it is within, certainly within 10 miles, perhaps less,
2,000 or 3,000 feet.
from our city limits. So we are authorized to serve Summit Park with regard to the distance from our city limits. However, we're not authorized to trespass into the franchise area of another utility. Really, the whole purpose of utility regulation is to prevent that sort of competition. Wolf Summit has asked both the Sanitary Board and the Clarksburg Water Board to be their utility service providers. I think they looked at the staffing and capabilities of Summit Park PSD, comparing those with the professional full staffs that we have on those two enterprises, and I think concluded no-brainer, really. What they need is Clarksburg Water Board and Clarksburg Sanitary Board service. So I'll pause there. Dan, you want to interject?
Yeah, so we've been working with them, and I think I've mentioned it to the board a couple times that this project started, 4 or 5 years ago, and then it went bankrupt. These guys have moved in, and we've been working with Drew on, because it'll be an industrial pretreatment of what they can do. Back when it was first thought of in 2018 and stuff, it was going to be a Clarksburg line right before it fizzled. I've talked to Wolf Summit at length, and recommended. The water board has a line on Ohio, it's right next to it, and our sanitary line. Talking with Johnny and them, the best way to bring it in is coming under the railroad by Menards, down by the caboose, and tying in, as Johnny corrected. Worked with Tim, so I knew it was Summit Park, and how to best handle it, and so kind of sought his advice on that. We've prepared a letter for them that they are reviewing right now, that should come to you, to Ms. Fell, as the chairman, and to Jason as the water requesting service. I've not talked to them since I submitted it. Apparently they have a couple questions on the letter, and so
The letter's coming from Wolf Summit to us,
it would come from Wolf Summit to you requesting service.
but we can accept, when we can bypass Summit Park and do this.
Well, we have a few options, and let me just give you the spectrum, okay? So let's say the Putin option is just get the property rights that we need and go ahead and start digging.
Do it.
And wait for Summit Park to respond. Probably would be a PSC complaint, and we would have to go to the PSC and say, this is what happened. What's the downside with that option? Other than the style points, it is that the PSC may order us ultimately to convey that line back to Summit Park, but Summit Park would have to pay. Well, actually, in this case, the power company is paying for the line ultimately. So that's the option. Move out and do it, of course, with the lawful property rights. And I think a lot of this is in public right of way.
Almost all of it is, yeah.
So
Except for we have to go under the railroad, which is the big issue.
always fun to work with the railroad. So there's this extreme. The other extreme, if you will accept that characterization, is that we file with the PSC a alternate extension agreement citing the fact that we're entering into Summit Park PSD service area and wait for the commission to join the Summit Park PSD and send their staff and litigate that thing to a conclusion, whatever that might be. And those are the two extremes. I think somewhere in the middle is, let's go to Summit Park and talk to them and say that, you know, we want to be a community that is known for welcoming and supporting outside investment. And that's exactly what this is. These people were asking for us, and by golly, we think we should deliver that and see what Summit Park says back. There's your middle position.
After we get the letter from Wolf Summit, then we would go to Summit Park. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Is that your recommendation?
My recommendation is to talk to Summit Park first, because it's not a mutually exclusive alternative. We could turn around and say, okay, you don't agree, we got the easements, here we come.
Okay.
Or we could say, let's go litigate at the Public Service Commission. So I think that option gives you more flexibility than the other two.
Right.
I think Wolf Summit, the power people, they want to try to expedite it, but in my discussion with them is you also want, you know, a provider that, you know, they have to have reliable service if they're running a power plant for water and sewer.
Right.
Drew's got to treat it, and we got to go through their industrial stuff. And by providing it as a gravity system instead of upgrading a pump station for Summit Park, the whole idea when it was done, like I said, 6 years ago, we wanted to lay a gravity line because there's some property that may be developed after, you know, up there, and it would be a lot easier if we had a gravity line, not upgrading pump stations and the whole bit. I think it might be good for economic development as well.
You know, that it's an interesting, as I'm sure you're familiar, that, you know, the cheapest way to build this is with pump stations today. But when we talk about life cycle costs and risks in the future with these pump stations and the power cost to supply them, the long-term costs, it's a no-brainer. We want to go gravity. That's the best way for us to provide service. So I think Dan's design is right on the money.
Does Summit Park PSD have any like leverage of being able to acquire a source from someone outside of the city of Clarksburg where the water board runs?
I don't think so.
That's, I mean, the only way Summit Park would be to tap the Clarksburg water board line and run the 1,500 feet up from Ohio Avenue up to the power plant.
Are we still taking out their one lift station?
I would design it, that would be the,
See, I don't think if we take out their one, that's one of the problem lift stations. If we can eliminate that, I don't think you're gonna have a fight with some part.
I think that would be the carrot I would put out, that we would design it deep enough, because I don't think that station's very deep. And we can design it deep enough, lay even stub out to it, and then pick that up and be done with it. They could get rid of it.
My recommendation, you can decide on what option you prefer, how to approach this, but as far as physically doing it, perhaps Tiffany and Jason would be willing to go and meet with Summit Park and talk to them. I'm happy to go, but sometimes lawyers are not constructive, but perhaps some engineering support would be helpful as well. I don't know, the water board is not as informed as you are at this point regarding this project, but they'll catch up soon, and I'm sure Jason will be giving you a call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony? Anthony, do you have anything to add?
Nothing further.
Jason?
I'd just like to reiterate the page turner next week with Thrasher on Phase 5A. I look forward to working with everybody and all the entities involved and helping facilitate and keep things moving forward.
Thank you. Ashley?
Not report, it's good.
Councilmember Hyman? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You did good, Tiffany.
Right?
You did good.
Meeting adjourned. I'll be like, right? I love phone doctors.